Okay, hi there. Here's another short video building an analytical chain of reasoning, this time on how rising oil prices might impact on a country's short-run aggregate supply. We're told that world oil prices have risen by 30%. Analyse the main effect of this on aggregate supply for a country that is a net oil importer. My answer is just going to look at short-run aggregate supply. Of course, you could then build and develop the analysis to think about long-run aggregate supply going forward. But this is just a simple paragraph, a single paragraph, showing you logical chains of reasoning. The reason is the exam boards are saying they want their students in economics to build logical, analytical chains of reasoning to get those top marks. So these videos are basically an attempt to give you an idea, an example of how to do that. So here we go. I'm using connective words and they're in red and bold. Rising world oil prices will increase import costs for many producers, such as the major power companies, electricity and gas generators, and also transport logistics businesses. Good examples there to build application into the answer. Now, assuming other costs remain unchanged, in other words, assuming ceteris paribus, this rise in oil prices will lead to an inward shift of supply across many industries at a micro level. As a result, short-run aggregate supply will also shift inwards. Short-run aggregate supply, for a macro concept, SRAS is drawn on the assumption that the factors such as the state of technology remain unchanged. So an inward shift of SRAS means that national output of goods and services at each general price level has fallen. Consequently, the likely result is that the prices will rise. That's called cost-push inflation, and that real GDP will contract, leading to a slowdown or possible economic recession, particularly if it's an oil importer. And you could build a diagram to support the analysis. Don't forget, oftentimes diagrams help support the analysis. An inward shift of aggregate supply here from SRAS1 to SRAS2 could lead to an increase in the general price level and a contraction of real GDP. There's the paragraph as it looks as a whole. It's not perfect, but it does contain a sequence, a logical chain of reasoning using connective words. And it gives you a sense of the kind of length of a paragraph that I think works quite nicely in a time-pressured exam. And of course, once you've done the analysis, then you can also start to evaluate. Good analysis opens the door to good evaluation. And here are a few examples. That first line, the impact depends on the prices and availabilities of alternative fuels and the costs of switching. So if the price of oil goes up, to what extent in the long term businesses might be able to find relatively cheaper alternatives and the cost of switching towards them. Assuming other costs remain unchanged, well, challenge the ceteris paribus assumption. It might be the case, for example, that the world price of oil has gone up in dollars, but that your exchange rate might have appreciated, which means that the things you buy priced in dollars become cheaper. Short-run aggregate supply is drawn on the assumption of a constant state of technology. Of course, in the long term, even the medium term, technologies move quite quickly these days. There could be some research and some innovation which improves fuel efficiency. For example, airlines increasingly trying to focus on lighter materials used in aircraft to increase not just to reduce emissions, but also to improve their fuel efficiency. And also vehicles become more fuel efficient and household energy systems and so on. So technology can offset that rise in price. And often, of course, the increase in the oil price is a catalyst for that kind of research. And we're assuming that the aggregate supply curve shifts inwards. Yes, that's likely to happen, but other factors might have offset the inward shift of aggregate supply. It might have been a change in indirect taxes, for example. The government might have cut VAT on businesses. They might have offered some subsidies to businesses, helping to lower their costs. Once you've built good analysis, I think the evaluation just flows more easily. And of course, analysis opens the door to good evaluation. There we go, another in our series of short videos looking at just chains of reasoning. I hope you found that essay plan, answer plan useful. Stay tuned, stay safe, stay curious. See you soon.